probably already figured out I'm not one of the kids. I have the honor and privilege of reading Gail's for her today. And I'm going to talk as she wrote it, so you're going to hear I and me. Before I talk about Mom, I would like to just take a moment to say how grateful I am to Susan and Kevin. Mom could not have been possibly in a better place. They did everything imaginable to make her feel comfortable and welcome her in their home. They rearranged their home so that she could not only have a bedroom, but also a bathroom and a TV room, the room that used to be their bedroom. I'm grateful that they took her to so many events in Fredericksburg that they thought she would enjoy, and they included her even in their own activities. They made many sacrifices for her. She was so fortunate to be with them these past few years, and words cannot express how grateful I am to them. Also, I want to take a moment to thank you for coming today to honor Mom. So many of you have called, texted, emailed, and made other communications telling us how Mom has touched your lives in some way. And that has truly touched our hearts. And I want to thank my young protege for reading this for me. Mom was in charge of the weekly devotions on Thursdays at the Mountain Area Senior Center before they would eat lunch.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh,
Yeah. You missed the
sorry.
first.
I did. I apologize. You might have been better off reading this. Now about Mom. There are so many things I could say, and she wore so many hats, but I'll try to only mention a few. Mom loved to laugh, and she had a wonderful sense of humor. I remember so many times when I would be working outside between our two houses, and suddenly I would hear her laughing inside her own house. I'd usually go over to see what she was laughing at, and it was often something that was on TV, like the Andy Griffith Show, or I Love Lucy, or Everybody Loves Raymond, or she may have been talking on the phone with a friend. When I asked her what she was laughing at, it would usually take a couple minutes until she could compose herself enough to even tell me, since she was laughing so hard. Mom was in charge of the weekly devotions on Thursdays at the Mountain Area Senior Center before they would eat lunch, and quite often she would open with a joke. And although sometimes she would get the joke a little mixed up, usually on the punchline, they would come out funny one way or another, and everyone enjoyed them and looked forward to hearing her jokes. One evening at a weekly Bible study that we attended, I'm not sure whether Ed Fear asked Mom to say something or if she asked him if she could say something, because sometimes she would ask him if she could tell a story or a joke at the beginning of Bible study. Anyway, one night when I wasn't able to be there, I guess she went around the room and made a humorous comment about every single person that was there. And they were just a spur-of-the-moment comment, nothing that she had planned, but I guess she really had everyone laughing. And I'm sure that everyone that was there remembers that moment well. Mom was not an envious person. She was always glad for people's good fortune. I never heard her express that she wanted something that someone else had. It didn't matter what the person's station was in life, she treated everyone the same. Mom loved people. She loved to have company stop by and visit. Her door was always open, and it didn't matter what time it was. Growing up and into my 20s and 30s, our house was party central. I can attest to that, especially in the 90s. On most Friday and Saturday nights, there was usually a group of friends that would come to our house in the evenings. We would laugh, eat, and have a great time together. We'd play games, and it could get very loud and wild, especially with Pictionary and Super Uno. But Mom loved it. On holidays like Memorial Day and Labor Day, Mom usually hosted a picnic for the neighbors and the friends. And she loved to get together and have fun with her friends. Mom didn't let any grass grow under her feet, a gene that I can say wasn't passed on to her children. If something needed to be done, she started working on it right away. She was prepared early. I think I sometimes frustrated her whenever she and I worked together on something. She would want to do it as soon as possible, where I wasn't in quite that rush that she was in. I always got my part done. I was just on a different timeline than she was. One thing that kind of amazed me about her is how she would get up in the morning, and usually within 15-20 minutes, she would get dressed for the day. A lot of people lounge around in their homes in their pajamas for a while, but not Mom. She liked to get up and get busy. Even these last couple of months, when she was spending most of her time in bed, when she did get up, she wanted to get dressed. Mom didn't beat around the bush. She was straightforward. You didn't have to wonder where she stood on things. You knew exactly what she thought about things or people. But you know, I think most people appreciated that honesty of hers, and I also respected her for it. A few years ago, she wrote a book about her faithful companion, Callie, her calico cat. And she wrote the book as if it was her cat writing it. At one place in the book, Callie described Mom by saying, quote, "My lady can be a little sassy and a little bossy, but I love her anyway." I think probably most of you knew that she had her sassy and bossy moments, but she was as good-hearted as they come. And I think, like Callie, we all loved her anyway too. Callie's book is in the Sunday school room in case anyone would like to take a look at it. Mom loved the Lord, and she loved her fellow believers. You would be hard-pressed to find a harder worker for the Lord and the church than she was. When anyone was new in the neighborhood, Mom would be the first one to welcome them and take them to dessert and invite them to church. She did so many things here at the church that they can't all be listed. But speaking of desserts and sweets, she did love chocolate and anything sweet. Whenever we had our church meals for special events, Rick and I would talk about and laugh afterwards about how many desserts Mom would put on her plate after eating a huge meal. And she loved to make chocolate candy. And she loved to give away the chocolate candy to her special friends, of which she did have many. She was generous and always giving of herself. If she had something that you wanted or needed, she was willing to share it or give it to you. She always wanted to pay her own way and didn't want to take advantage of people. She didn't have a lot of money, but the Lord provided more than enough for her needs. She was always satisfied. I never heard her complain about not having enough money. She tithed far beyond her usual 10% that I think most believers tithe, and the Lord blessed her with abundance because of her faithfulness. She was funny and lots of fun, delightful, giving, a doer, planner, organizer, and hard worker. She was like the Energizer Bunny. She could be hard-headed and sometimes frustrating, but I'm sure we kids were more frustrating to her. But to know her was to love her. She loved her family and her friends and her family's friends, but most importantly, she loved the Lord. To summarize Mom's life, I'd like to read what a dear family friend, Joyce Van Sickle Lake, wrote in an email 2 weeks ago about Mom, whom she considered to be her adoptive mother. She wrote, "There is only one Jessie Maggie. What a joy and blessing she has been and still is to so many, many others. She's truly one of a kind and so much fun. I love your mom more than you know. She and your dad have been major mentors of faith for me. She has built a legacy for herself with her faith in her life, love, laughter, service, wisdom, and she has a pure heart of gold. Again, thank you for joining us today in honoring and celebrating our beloved mother's life. She was one in a million, and I thank God, and I'm so grateful that He allowed her to be with us for 97 and a half years. She's rejoicing now in heaven and reuniting with loved ones. I'm blessed to say that she was my mom, and I'm going to miss her so much, but I know I'm going to see her again in glory."